Hey Jessicats, welcome to this month's study party. So you guys have been writing in all of your study questions and I've picked 5 to answer. So stick around if you want to find out my tips for improving your spelling, improving your ability to do maths, as well as my tips for proofreading your work effectively. Also, if you guys haven't already heard, I have a personal vlog channel called Life with Jess. So I'm going to link it down below if you guys want to access some more behind the scenes and also get to know me a little bit better. I'm really excited to be able to share that with you. So yeah, if you want to head over, check it out and you can subscribe. And also, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, then make sure to click that little red subscribe button down below and join in on all of the Jessicat fun. Alright guys, let's get into today's study party and make studying fun. Can you tell I'm excited? So question 1 is, what's the best way to proofread your work? So I have 2 tips for you. The first one is to set aside your work for around 24 hours. If you can create a little bit of distance from yourself and the assignment that you've just written, then you're more likely when you come back to read it more objectively and pick up on mistakes that you might have otherwise missed. And my other tip is to read your work out loud. This is going to help you identify whether your writing flows logically and makes sense. Question 2 is, how do you improve your grammar and spelling? So I have a lot of you asking me this question and I thought it would be really good to address it in a study party finally. So I find it really helpful to keep a corrections book. So you can use any little exercise book. I find it really useful to write down any mistake that you have picked up on whenever you're doing your work or in the feedback that your teacher gives you. Write down how you originally spelt it and then have another column where you write down the correct way of spelling it. This is going to reinforce how you should have spelt it in the first place and you're less likely to continue to make the same mistakes. And then another tip tying on to that one is to also include different spelling mistakes that you may not have made personally, but that are really common. So for example, misspelling there and there, T-H-E-R-E and T-H-E-I-R. I find this really useful because you don't want to be repeating your own mistakes, and this way it's also going to help you to refrain from making really common mistakes that your teacher has probably read many times when correcting all of your peers' work. So yeah, save them the strife, and I think a corrections book is definitely the way to go for this. Question 3, this is one of the questions that I've been wanting to answer for a really long time. I was actually going to wait till it's my back to school series in the middle of the year, but I thought I really don't want to wait. Maybe I'll make an episode all about it. But question 3 was, how do you make friends at school? So I find that it's always been really helpful just to go for it. If someone doesn't want to be your friend, then you don't want to be their friend either. They're definitely not the nice kind of person that you hope they were. I think it's really good to break the ice by giving someone a compliment. So it could be anything about them that you like, whether it's something that they're wearing or the fact that they're really nice or that you think that they did really well on an assignment and congratulating them. I think that people respond really well to compliments. Another thing that I find really useful is to not sit in the exact same spot whenever you go to class, because if you always sit next to your best friend, then you're not going to be very likely to branch out and try and talk to other people. It can also be really useful to join a club, whether it's chess club or dance club or drama club at school, because then you'll also be able to be in the same vicinity as people that share the same interests as you. Question 4 is, how many after school activities do you recommend doing when you're studying? So when I was in my final years of high school, I was dancing full time. I actually danced 4 nights a week and also all day Saturday from about 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. So I ended up using all of my lunch breaks and I would just try and be really productive throughout the school day to get all of my work done. So I don't think that there's really a specific limit as to how much you can do. It's really just how much you feel you're able to take on. If you feel like your extracurricular activities are now impacting your grades negatively or you're feeling really tired, then I would recommend looking at all of the responsibilities and commitments that you're taking on and reevaluating that. It's also really important to know if your parents aren't really keen on you doing too many things whilst you're studying, that it's not the end of the world, because when you're finished school, then you'll have more time to take up other hobbies, and also there's weekends. So I used to actually, when I was in primary school, only have an extracurricular activity on a Saturday morning, which was swimming. And my sister and I used to go and do our swimming lessons in the morning. So that way it wasn't really too demanding of us, especially when we were so young. Question 5 is, how do you improve on your numeracy skills, or how do you get better at maths? So I found maths really, really hard when I was younger. I was always one of the better students at maths, I guess. I was in the accelerated classes, but I was actually the bottom of the class. So I was always really pushing myself to the limit, trying to keep up with all of my peers. So maths is the kind of thing where it's really just about practice makes perfect. Honestly, there's no really easy way of doing it. I actually did an episode with my top 10 tips for acing maths, so I'm gonna link that down below because I do have some other great tips for you guys. But I think it's important that you always do your homework and you always check your answers and go through them, because that is definitely going to help you out. And in your notes, I used to really benefit from including different diagrams and graphs and then having an example underneath and a little description to explain the information. So if you want to go ahead and do that, I think it's really helpful for visual learners as well. And then one more thing that I recommend with maths is that if you don't actually have the answers to the question at the back of a textbook and your teacher has given you a handout, make sure you check your work with a calculator. Don't just give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you definitely got it right, because you might just pick up that one thing was not quite right, and that way you're actually correcting yourself as you go and learning from your mistakes. You're not just waiting on your teacher to let you know whether you got something right and then giving you the answer themselves. So yeah, make sure that you're trying to learn independently, that you're going through your work and taking your time, not rushing it, because maths is the kind of thing where if you rush it, you're more likely to make those tiny errors, and it's really just a waste because you probably knew the answer already. So take your time, check your answers, and always just keep persevering, because eventually it's going to click, and the more questions you do, eventually you're going to get it right, and then you'll be able to move on to harder questions and just feel more confident about your ability to tackle maths. Woo! Okay, so they were my 5 questions for today's study party, or this month's study party. If you guys have any more study questions, then make sure to leave them in the comment boxes below, and I'll try and answer them in next month's study party. And if you found today's video helpful, then come on guys, show me some love and give today's episode a big thumbs up to let me know. And if you're not already subscribed, click the little subscribe button. Like I also said, I have my own personal vlog channel now, so if you want to check it out, it's Life with Jess. I'm going to link that down below, and you can go check it out, subscribe, and get to know me a little bit better. And I'm going to go head on out. I'm going to see you guys next Wednesday with another Study Tips episode. Love you and have a happy and productive week. Bye!